It doesn't matter at all when they've all had their quarrels and parted. We'll be the same as we started, just traveling along, singing a song, side by side, through all kinds of weather. What if the sky should fall? Just as long as we're together, it doesn't matter at all when they've all had their quarrels and parted. We'll be the same as we started, just traveling along, singing a song. We're together, we're side by side.
Now listen, Mr. Kemper, I tell you for the 100th time, you will never marry my niece.
And I tell you for the 1000th time that I will marry her. And right soon, too.
Never! Boy!
Your niece is of age,
Boys,
Mr.
don't
Van der
practice
Gelder.
under
Your
somebody
niece is
else's
consenting
window.
to marry me. This is a free country, Mr. Van der Gelder, not some private kingdom of your own.
There are no free countries for fools, Mr. Kemper. Thank you for the honor of your visit. Good morning.
Mr. Van der Gelder, would you please sit still? If I cut your throat, it'd be practically unintentional.
Ermengarde's not for you, nor for anybody else who can't support her.
I tell you I can't support her. I make a very good living.
No, sir. A living is made, Mr. Kemper, by selling something that everybody needs at least once a year.
Yes, but I...
And $1 million is made by producing something that everybody needs every day. You artists produce something that nobody needs at any time.
That's not true.
Oh, you may sell a picture once in a while, but you'll make no living. Joe, go over there and stamp 3 times. I want to talk to Cornelius.
Not only do I make a very good living, I have very considerable expectations.
Expectations? We merchants don't do business with them. I don't keep accounts with somebody who promises somehow to pay me something someday, and I don't allow my niece to marry such people. No, Mr. Kemper, you go back to your studio, and when you finish painting Sunset on the Hudson, why don't you try hope feeding a family or love melting a snowbank? There's a subject for you.
Very well, but I should have you know that I regard any way for us to be married right now as right and fair. This is a free country, and there's no law.
Law? Let me tell you something, Mr. Kemper. Most of the people in the world are fools. The law is there to prevent crime. We men of sense are there to prevent foolishness. It is I and not the law that will prevent Ermengarde from marrying you. I've taken steps already. I've sent her away.
You sent her away?
Yes, to get this nonsense out of her head.
Ermengarde's not here?
Oh, you can find her in Peekskill or Albany, or try Syracuse or Utica. Thank you for the honor of your visit.
Everything's ready, Mr. Van der Gelder. I've just finished packing the trunk. Ermengarde's been helping me.
Hold your tongue.
Yes, Mr. Van der Gelder. Ermengarde's ready to leave. The trunk is marked, care, Miss Van Huysen, 8
Care?
Jackson Street,
Miss Van
New York.
Huysen, 8 Jackson Street,
Hell and damnation.
New York.
Didn't I tell you that was a
Thank you
secret?
very much. Good day, Mr. Van der Gelder.
It won't help you, Mr. Kemper. Death. At least you could do me the favor of being dumb.
Such a temper. Lord save us.
Yes, Mr. Van der Gelder.
Go in and get my niece's trunk and carry it over to the station.
Yes, Mr. Van der Gelder.
Wait. Mrs. Levi, Gertrude, has Mrs. Levi arrived yet?
Don't shout. I can hear perfectly well. Certainly the labels for the luggage are ready.
Have the buggy brought round to the front of the store in a half an hour.
Yes, Mr. Van der Gelder.
This morning I'm leading my lodge parade down to Spuyten Duyvil, and this afternoon I'm going to New York. Before I go, I have something important to say to you and Barnaby. Good news. Fact is, I'm going to promote you. How old are you?
33, Mr. Van der Gelder.
What?
33.
That all? That's a foolish age to be at. I thought you were 40.
No, I'm 33.
A man's not worth a cent till he's 40. We just pay him wages to make mistakes, don't we, Joe?
You almost lost an ear on him, Mr. Van der Gelder.
I'm thinking of promoting you to chief clerk.
Wait, but what am I now, Mr. Van der Gelder?
You're an impertinent fool, that's what you are. Now, if you behave yourself, I'll promote you from impertinent fool to chief clerk with a raise in your wages. Now, and Barnaby may get promoted from idiot apprentice to incompetent clerk.
Well, thank you, Mr. Van der Gelder.
But I do want to see you again before you go. Go in and get my niece's trunk.
Yes, Mr. Van der Gelder.
Joe, the world's getting crazier by the minute. Like my father used to say, the horse will be taking over the world soon. Fine, fine.
I did what I could, Mr. Van der Gelder. What with you flying in and out of the chair?
Well, you do a fine job, Joe. The same fine job you've done me for the last 20 years. But I have special reasons for looking my best today. Isn't there something a little extra you can do? You know, something a little special?
Huh?
Look, touch me up, smarten me up. Do some of those things you do for the younger fellas.
All I know is 15 cents like usual, Mr. Van der Gelder, and that includes everything that's decent to do to a man.
Now hold your horses, Joe.
I shaved you for 20 years, and you never asked me no such questions before, and I don't intend.
Now, hold your horses, Joe. I'm going to tell you a little secret, but I don't want you telling it to that riffraff down at the barber shop, what I'm going to tell you now. All I'm asking is a little extra because, well, I'm thinking of getting married again. And this very afternoon, I'm going to New York to call on my intended, a very refined lady.
Your getting married is none of my business, Mr. Van der Gelder. I done everything to you I know, and it charges 15 cents like it always wasn't. I don't dye no hair. Not even for 50 cents I don't.
Joe Scanlon, get out.
And lastly, it looks to me like you're pretty rash to judge which is fools and which ain't fools, Mr. Van der Gelder. People that's at onions is bad judges of who's at onions and who ain't. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, Mr. Van der Gelder.
Well, what do you want?
Uncle, you said you wished to speak to us.
Oh, yes. Gertrude, has Mrs. Levi arrived yet?
What? Oh, yes. Lord have mercy.
I had a talk with that artist of yours.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. He's a fool. Oh, weeping. You can go down and weep for a while in New York where it won't be noticed. Ermengarde, I told him that when you're old enough to marry, you'd marry someone who could support you. I've done you a good turn. You'll come back and thank me when you're 50.
But Uncle, I love him.
Oh, I tell you, you don't.
But I do.
I tell you, you don't. You leave those things to me.
But if I don't marry Ambrose, I know I'll die.
What of?
A broken heart.
Never heard of it. Mrs. Levi is coming in a moment to take you to New York. You're to stay 2 to 3 weeks with Miss Van Huysen, an old friend of your mother's. You're not to receive any letters except from me. I'm coming to New York myself today. I'll call on you tomorrow. Who are you?
Malachi Stack, Your Honor. I heard you needed an apprentice in the hay, feed, provision, and hardware business.
Apprentice at your age?
Why, yes, Your Honor. I bring a lot of experience to it.
Have you any letters of recommendation?
Yes, indeed, Your Honor. First-class recommendation.
Ermengarde, are you ready to start?
Yes.
Well, go and get ready some more. And Ermengarde, let me know the minute Mrs. Levi gets here.
Yes, Uncle Horace.
I don't want an able seaman, a typesetter. I don't want a hospital.
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor, but it's all good experience. Excuse me, this one is from Joshua Van Tile, your former partner in Albany.
Oh, Van Tile. For the most part, honest and reliable. Occasionally willing and diligent. Seems to be a certain amount of hesitation about these recommendations.
But businessmen aren't good writers, Your Honor. There's only one businessman in 1,000 that can write a good letter of recommendation, Your Honor. Mr. Van Tile sends his best wishes and hopes that you can use me in the provision and hardware business.
Oh, not so fast. Tell me, why did you come to Yonkers?
Well, I heard you had an apprentice who was a good-for-nothing and that you were at your wit's end for another.
Wit's end? There's no dearth of good-for-nothing apprentices.
Well, that's right, Mr. Van Gelder. It's employers there's a dearth of. Why, it seems like you hear of a new one dying every day.
What's that? Hold your tongue. See, you've been a barber and a valet, too. Why have you changed your place so often?
Changed my place, Mr. Van Gelder? When a man's interested in experience...
Do you drink?
Oh, no, thanks. I've just had breakfast.
I didn't ask, idiot. I was asking if you're a drunkard.
Oh, no, sir, no. Why, looking at it from all sides, I don't even like liquor.
If you keep on looking at it from all sides, out you go. Here. With all your faults, I'm going to give it a try.
You'll never regret it, Mr. Van Gelder. You'll never regret
Now,
it.
today I want to use you in New York. I judge you know your way around New York.
Do I know my way around New York? Mr. Van Gelder, I know every hole...
Now, here's $1.
Oh, thank you.
Train leaves in a minute. Take that bag to the Central Hotel on Water Street. Have them save me a room. Wait for me. I'll be there about 4 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Oh, but first, sir, I'd like to meet some of the clerks I'm to be working with.
You haven't time. The station's across the street.
Yes, sir. You'll see, sir. You'll never regret it.
I regret it already. Now, go on. Off with you. 99% of the people in the world are fools. The rest of us are in great danger of contagion. But I wasn't always free of foolishness as I am now. I was once young, which was foolish. I fell in love, which was foolish. And I got married, which was foolish. And for a while, I was poor, which is more foolish than all the other things put together. And then my wife died, which was foolish of her. And I grew older, which was sensible of me. And then I became a rich man, which is as sensible as it is rare. Since you can see that I'm a man of sense, I guess you're surprised to hear that I'm planning to get married again. Well, I have 2 reasons for it. In the first place, I like my house run with order, comfort, and economy. That's a woman's work. But even a woman can't do it well if she's merely being paid for it. In order to run a house well, a woman has to have the feeling that she owns it. Marriage is a bribe to make a housekeeper think she's a householder. Have you ever watched an ant carry a burden twice its size? What excitement, what patience, what will. Well, that's what I think of when I see a woman running a house. What giant passions in those little bodies. What quarrels with the butcher for the best cut. What fury at discovering a moth in a cupboard. Why, if women could harness their natures to something bigger than a house and a baby carriage, they'd change the world. And the second reason, ladies and gentlemen, well, I can see by your faces that you've guessed it already. There's nothing like mixing with women to bring out all the foolishness in a man of sense. And that's a risk I'm willing to take. I've just turned 60, and I've just laid side by side the last dollar of my first $500,000. So, if I should lose my head a little, I still have enough money to buy it back. After many years of caution and hard work, I have the right to a little risk and adventure. So I'm thinking of getting married again. Yes, like all you other fools, I'm willing to trade a little security for a certain amount of risk and adventure. Think it over.
Ambrose! Oh, Ambrose.
Shh,
My
quick,
uncle's
just get your hat.
My hat.
Shh, quick, your bag's at the station. Quick, come on, we're running away.
Running away?
Shh.
To where?
To New York to get married.
Oh, Ambrose, I can't do that.
Well, why not?
Ambrose, dear, it wouldn't be proper.
Look, I'm gonna take you to my friend's house. His wife will take care of you.
Ambrose, a girl can't go on a train with a man. I can see you don't know anything about girls.
But we're going to be married.
Oh, Mary. Oh, but what would Uncle say?
Oh, we don't care. We don't care what Uncle would say. We're eloping.
Ambrose Kemper, how can you use such an awful word?
Ermengarde, you have the soul of a field mouse.
Ambrose, why must you say such cruel things to me?
Please, for the last time, I beg you, would you get your hat and coat? Your train leaves in a few minutes.
Good morning, my darling girl. How are you?
Good morning, Mrs. Levi.
And who is this gentleman who's so devoted to you?
This is Ambrose Kemper, Mrs. Levi. Ambrose, this is Mrs. Levi.
Mrs. Levi, born Gallagher. Very happy to meet you, Mr. Kemper. Mr. Kemper, the artist? Ah, yes, delighted. Mr. Kemper, may I say something very frankly?
Yes, Mrs. Levi?
This thing that you're planning to do is a very great mistake.
Oh, Mrs. Levi, please explain to Ambrose. Of course I want to marry him, but to elope.
Yes, I know. Well, you know, why don't you go keep an eye out for your uncle? I'm going to talk to Mr. Kemper for a few moments. You give us a warning when you hear your Uncle Horace coming. It's all right. Go on. Mr. Kemper, I was this dear girl's mother's oldest friend. Believe me, I am on your side. I hope you two will be married very soon. And I think I can say I can be of real service to you. I always go right to the point.
What is the point, Mrs. Levi?
Mr. Van de Gelder is a very rich man, and Ermengarde is his only relative.
No, I'm not interested in Mr. Vandergelder's money. I have enough for a wife and family.
Enough, Mr. Kemper. How much is enough when one is thinking about the future and children? The future is the most expensive luxury in the world, Mr. Kemper.
What is your point, Mrs. Levi?
Mr. Van de Gelder wants to get rid of Ermengarde, and if you follow my suggestions, he may even permit you to marry her. See, he wishes to be married himself.
What? That monster?
Mr. Kemper!
Married to you, I suppose.
Oh, no. Oh, no, I'm merely arranging it. I'm helping him find a suitable bride.
Suitable? For Mr. Vandergelder, there are no suitable brides.
Oh, I think we can safely say that Mr. Van de Gelder will be married to someone by the end of next week.
Well, what do you suggest, Mrs. Levi?
I am bringing Ermengarde to New York on the next train. But I shall not bring her to Miss Van Huysen's as planned. I shall take her to my house. I wish for you to call on her at my house at 5:30. I have my card. One moment, and I will give you one. Here you are.
Mrs. Dolly Gallagher Levi, varicose veins reduced?
Beg your pardon.
I beg your pardon, consultation's free.
I meant to give you my other card. Here.
Mrs. Dolly Gallagher Levi, Aurora hosiery? Instruction in the guitar and mandolin? Do you really do all those things, Mrs. Levi?
Mr. Kemper, 2 and 2 make 4, and they always did. So, you will come to my house at 5:30. At 6 o'clock, I will take both of you with me to the Harmonia Gardens restaurant on the Battery. Mr. Van de Gelder will be there, and everything will be arranged.
How?
Oh, I don't know. One thing will lead to another.
How do I know I can trust you, Mrs. Levi? You could easily make our situation worse.
Mr. Kemper, your situation could not possibly be worse.
I really wish I knew what you were getting out of all this.
Oh, well, you know, that's a very good question. I get two things, profit and pleasure.
How?
Well, let me see. I'm a woman who arranges things. Out if I get, what shall we call it? Little pickings. Yes. I need little pickings, Mr. Kemper, especially just now when I don't even have my train fare back to New York. You see, I am frank with you.
Well, there's your profit, Mrs. Levi, but where's your pleasure?
My pleasure. Mr. Kemper, when you artists paint a hillside or a river, you change everything a little. You make thousands of little changes, don't you? Natures can never completely satisfactory and must be corrected. Well, I am like you artists. Life is never quite interesting enough for me as it is. I'm bored, with Mr. Kemper, with life as it is. So I do things. Put my hand in here, and I put my hand in there, and I watch, and I listen, and often I'm very much amused.
Not in my affairs, Mrs. Levi.
Oh, wait, there's something more. I'm very interested in this household here, and in Mr. Van de Gelder's all that idle frozen money of his. I don't like the idea of it sitting around in great piles, useless, motionless in the bank. Money should circulate like rainwater. It should be flowing down through the people, through seamstresses and restaurants and cabmen, setting up a little business here and furnishing a good time there. You see what I mean?
Yes, I suppose so.
Well, New York should be a very happy city, and it isn't, Mr. Kemper. My late husband, Ephraim Levi, came from Vienna. Now there's a city that understands this. I want Vienna to be more like New York, and less like a collection of nervous, tired ants. So, if you and Ermengarde should get a good deal of Mr. Van de Gelder's money, I want you to see that it starts flowing in and around a lot of people's lives.
Mrs. Levi, Uncle Horace is coming.
I think you should be going, Mr. Kemper. Come along, dear. Don't worry, Mr. Kemper and I had a very nice talk. You'll see, Mr. Van de Gelder and I will be dancing at your wedding very, very soon. Why, Mr. Van de Gelder, how handsome you look. Why, you take my breath away. Ermengarde, I'll see you very soon, dear. Mr. Van de Gelder, I wish Irene Malloy could see you now. But then I don't know what's come over you lately. You seem to be growing younger every day.
Allowing for exaggeration, Mrs. Levi. If a man eats careful, there's no reason why he should look old.
Oh, you never said a truer word.
I'll never see 60, well, 55 again.
55. Well, you know, at one glance I can tell you're the sort that will be stomping around until you're 100, eating 5 meals a day. Just like, what's his name? My Uncle Harry. At 55, my Uncle Harry was a mere boy. I'm a judge of hands, Mr. Van de Gelder. Show me your hand. Lord in heaven, what a lifeline.
Where?
What, it goes from here to, I don't know where it goes, runs right off your hand. They'll have to hit you on the head with a mallet. They'll have to stifle you with a sofa pillow. You'll outlive us all. But now, getting back to our business, Mr. Van de Gelder, I suppose you've changed your mind again. I suppose you've given up all idea of getting married.
Oh, not at all, Mrs. Levi. I have news for you.
News?
Mrs. Levi, I've practically decided to ask Mrs. Malloy to be my wife.
You have?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have? Well, I guess that's the best news I ever did hear. Good heavens, I guess there's nothing left for me to do but wish you all the best under the sun and say goodbye.
Well, Mrs. Levi, surely I thought that maybe
Well, I did have another suggestion to make, but I won't. You're going to marry Irene Malloy, so that closes the matter.
Another?
Oh, Oh, yes, another girl for you.
Another, eh? What's her name?
She's a wonderful girl, the ideal wife.
What's her name?
Her name, Ernestina. Simple. Ernestina Simple.
Ernestina Simple?
Oh, yes. But you know, you're engaged to Irene Malloy. You're practically engaged to Irene Malloy, so that closes the matter.
Oh, I ain't engaged to Mrs. Malloy.
Nonsense. You can't go and break poor Irene's heart and change to another girl now. When a man at your time of life calls on an attractive widow 4 times and sends her a pot of geraniums, that's practically an engagement.
That ain't an engagement.
Oh, and to think I had found this other girl for you. She's such a treasure. Oh, the whole time I felt like a traitor to Irene, but I couldn't help it. If only you were free. I told her all about you. Fact is, she's fallen in love with you already.
Ernestina?
Simple.
Ernestina Simple.
Simple. But now, she's a different sort of a girl, Ernestina is, from Irene. Like her name. Simple. Domestic, practical.
Can she cook?
Can she cook? Why, Mr. Vandergelder, I've had 2 meals from her hands, and as I live, I don't know what I should have done that God should reward me with such meals. And I'm a wonderful cook myself, so I know what's good.
How old is she, Mrs. Levi?
19. 20.
20, Mrs. Levi? Girls of 20 are apt to favor young fellas of their own age.
Oh, but you don't listen to me, and you don't know this girl. Oh, she has a positive horror of brainless, flighty young men. Why, she says a head of gray hair is worth 20 shined up with goose grease.
That's not usual, Mrs. Levi.
Usual? Mr. Vandergelder, I'm not wearing myself to the bone trying to find a usual girl to interest you. Usual indeed. Well, do you know what sort of picture she has on her wall? Is it any of these young Romeos or Lochinvars? No, it's Moses on the mountain. That's what she has. You want to make her happy? Give her a picture of Methuselah surrounded by his grandchildren. That's my advice to you.
What's her family?
Her family. Father, be good to me, what am I trying to say? Her father is the best undertaker. The best undertaker in Brooklyn. Well, just wonderful. He knew all the best people, knew them well even before they died. That's all I'm going to tell you about for that. But, let me tell you more of her appearance. Are you listening? As I said, beautiful girl, beautiful. I've seen her go down the street. You know what I mean. All the men get dizzy. They have to lean against a lamppost. And she, modest eyes to the ground. Well, I'm not going to tell you anything more now. Can you come to New York today?
I was thinking of coming to New York this afternoon.
Were you? Well, I wonder if something could be arranged. She's so eager to meet you. Let me see.
Mrs. Levi, could I give you 2 ladies a little dinner, maybe?
Come to think of it, I don't know where I could find the time. I'm so busy with that wretched lawsuit of mine. And if I win, I don't mind telling you, I'll be what they call a very rich woman. I'll own half of Staten Island. But at the moment, I'm at my wit's end for a little help. Just enough money to see it through. My wit's end. Very well, I suppose we can arrange a little dinner. We'll see. And all I need for that lawsuit is $50. And Staten Island's as good as mine. For 2 months, I've been walking around trying to...
$50?
Yes.
$50, Mrs. Levi? It's no joke. I don't know where money's gone to lately, but...
2 whole months for you, trying to find you a suitable bride.
Here's 20. 25. I can't spare no more. Not now, I can't.
Well, I guess this will help somewhat. will help some. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'll bring Ernestina to that restaurant on the Battery. You know, the Harmonia Gardens. It's good, but not too flashy. And I think, Mr. Vandergelder, that it'd be very nice if just this once you ordered a real nice dinner. I guess you can afford it.
Well, just this once.
Chicken would be nice.
Chicken? Just this once?
And some wine.
Wine? Just this once.
Wonderful. So, I guess we can consider the Irene Malloy closed?
Oh, not at all, Mrs. Levi. I want to have dinner with Miss
Simple.
with Miss Simple. But first, I want to make another call on Mrs. Malloy.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. And, Miss Simple, the races you make me run. Very well. I will meet you outside of Irene Malloy's hat shop on one of those benches at 4:30, as usual.
The buggy's here, ready for the parade, Mr. Vandergelder.
Go and call Barnaby. I want to talk to both of you.
Yes, Mr. Vandergelder.
Now, Mr. Vandergelder, get your thoughts in order. I can't keep upsetting and bothering the finest women in New York City unless you mean business.
I mean business, all right.
Well, I hope so, because, you know, you're playing a very dangerous game.
Dangerous? Dangerous, Mrs. Levi?
Yes, dangerous, and there's a name for it. You're tampering with these women's affections, aren't you? And the only way you can save yourself now is to be married to someone by the end of next week. So think that over.
This morning, I'm joining my lodge parade. And this afternoon, I'm going to New York. When I come back, there are going to be some changes around the house. I'll tell you what the change is, but I don't want you discussing it among yourselves. You're going to have a mistress.
Well, I'm too young, Mr. Vandergelder.
Oh, not yours! Death and damnation, not yours, idiot, mine! Hey, hold your tongue until you're spoken to. I'm thinking of getting married again.
Well, many congratulations, Mr. Vandergelder, and my compliments for the lady.
That's none of your business. Now, get back to the store. Have you got any questions you want to ask me before I go?
No. Well, Mr. Vandergelder,
Yes, Cornelius?
No. But Mr. Vandergelder, I was just...
Yes, Cornelius.
Does the chief clerk get one evening off every week?
So that's the way we begin being chief clerk, is it? When I was your age, I got up at 5 in the morning, and I didn't close the store until 10 at night. And then I put in a good hour on the account books. The world's going to pieces. You elegant ladies lie in bed until 6. And at 9 o'clock at night, you rush so fast to close the door that the line of customers barks their noses. No, sir. You'll attend to the store as usual. And on Friday and Saturday nights, you'll remain open until 10. Now, hear what I say. This is the first time I've been away from the store overnight. When I come back, I want to hear that you've run it perfectly in my place. If I hear of any foolishness, I'll discharge you. Evenings free. Keep asking for an evening free, you'll wind up with all your days free. Remember that. And don't forget to put the lid on the sheep dip.
The horses nearly ran away when they saw him. There he goes. Oh, what's the matter, Cornelius?
Chief clerk. Promoted from chief clerk to chief clerk.
Don't you like it?
Chief clerk. And if I'm good in 10 years, I'll be promoted to chief clerk again. 33 years old, I still don't get an evening free. When am I going to begin to live?
Well, you can begin to live on Sundays, Cornelius.
That's not living. Twice to church and old wolf trap's eyes on the back of your head the whole time. And as for holidays, what did we do last Christmas? All those canned tomatoes went bad and exploded. We had to clean up the mess all afternoon. Was that living? No. Barnaby, how much money have you got? Where you can get it?
Oh, $3. Why, Cornelius?
You and I are going to New York.
Cornelius, we can't. Close the store?
Some more rotten tomatoes are going to explode.
Holy cabooses! How do you know?
Well, I know they're rotten. All we have to do is light a match under them. They'll make such a smell. Customers won't be able to come in this place for 24 hours. That'll get us an evening free. Oh, we're going to go to New York too, Barnaby. We're going to live. I'm going to have enough adventures to last me till I'm partner. So go get your Sunday clothes on.
What?
I mean it. We're going to have a good meal, and we're going to be in danger, and we're going to get almost arrested, and we're going to spend all our money.
Holy cabooses!
And one more thing. We're not coming back to Yonkers until we've kissed a girl.
Kissed a girl? Cornelius, you can't do that. You don't know any girls.
I'm 33 years old. I've got to start sometime.
Well, I'm only 20. It isn't so urgent for me.
Wait, no, don't back down on me here. If the worst comes to the worst and we get discharged from here, we can always join the army.
Oh, did I hear you say you'd be old Wolf Trap's partner?
Well, how can I help it? He's getting old. You go to bed at 9 and you open the store at 6. You get promoted upward whether you like it or not.
My partner?
There's no getting away from it, Barnaby. You and I, we're going to be Vandergelders.
I? Oh, no. I may rise a little, but I'll never be a Vandergelder.
Listen, everybody thinks when he gets to be rich, he's going to be a different kind of rich person from all the rich people he sees around him. Later on, finds out there's only one kind of rich person, and he's it.
Oh, but I'll never.
No, the best thing would be someone who has all the good things of a poor person and all the good meals a rich person has. That's never been known. Nope. You and I will be Vandergelders. Well, all the more reason then to get some living and some adventure into us now. Will you come, Barnaby?
But Wolftrap and Gertrude. Yes, Cornelius. Let's go.
Mr. Hackle, is the trunk down at the railroad station?
Yes, Mrs. Levi.
Well, dear girl, take a look around.
What?
Take a last look around at your girlhood home. I remember when I left mine. I gave a whinny like a young colt and off I went.
Gertrude, do you think I ought to get married this way? A young girl has to be so careful.
I think I'm going to have this room done in blue wallpaper. Yes, in blue.
It's all clear up here, Cornelius. Whoa. Hold the candle steady a minute, Cornelius. Oh, the bottom row looks all right, but try the top now. Whoa, they're all swelled up, like they're ready to burst. Holy cabooses! Oh, Cornelius, I can smell it up here. Woo!
Get your Sunday clothes on, Barnaby. We're going to New York.
You're a fool. Of course I shall marry Horace Vandergelder.
But I didn't ask. I would never dream of asking you such a personal question.
But it's what you meant, isn't it? And there's your answer. I shall certainly marry Horace Vandergelder, if you should ask me.
I know it's none of my business, Mrs. Malloy, but...
Speak up, Minnie. I can't hear you.
But do you...
Minnie, you're a fool. Say it. Do I love him? Of course I don't love him, but I've got 2 good reasons for marrying him just the same. Minnie, put something on that hat. It's not ugly enough.
Not ugly enough?
I couldn't sell it. Put a sponge on it.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, you're in such a mood today.
In the first place, I shall marry Mr. Vandergelder to get out of the millinery business. I've hated it since the first day I had anything to do with it. Minnie, I hate hats.
Why? What's the matter with the millinery business?
I can no longer stand being suspected of being a wicked woman while I have nothing to show for it. I just can't stand it.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, no one would dream of suspecting you.
Minnie, you're a fool. All millineresses are suspected of being wicked women. Why, half the time, all those women come into the store merely to look at me.
Oh.
They enjoy the suspicion, but they aren't certain. If they were certain I was a wicked woman, they would never put foot in this place again. Do I go to restaurants? No. That would be bad for business. Do I go to balls or theaters or opera? No. That would be bad for business. The only men I ever meet are feather merchants. What are those 2 men doing out there on that park bench? Take my word for it, Minnie. I either marry Horace Vandergelder or I break out of this place like a fire engine. I'll go to every ball, theater, and opera in New York City.
But Mr. Vandergelder's not very...
Speak up, Minnie. I can't hear you.
Well, he's not very attractive.
But I think he is. And it's very important. I think he'll make a good fighter.
Mrs. Malloy!
Take my word for it, Minnie. The best of married life is the fights. The rest is merely so-so.
Oh, I won't listen.
Now, Peter Malloy, God rest him, was a fine, arguing man. I pity the woman whose husband slams the door and walks out at the beginning of an argument. Peter Malloy would stand up and fight for hours on end. He even threw things, Minnie, and there's no pleasure to equal that. When I was tired, I'd start a good, blood-warming fight, and it would take 10 years off my age. Now, Horace Vandergelder would put up a good fight. I know it. I have a mind to marry him.
Oh, well, I think they're just awful, the things that you're saying.
Well, I'm enjoying them myself, too.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, those 2 men out there.
What?
Those 2 men out there. Well, it looks as though they mean to come in here.
Well, it's time some men came into this store. Minnie, I'll give you the younger one.
Oh, aren't you terrible?
And wait till I get my hands on that older one. Mark my words, Minnie. We'll get an adventure out of this yet. Adventures. Why does everyone have adventures except me, Minnie?
Oh, Mrs. Malloy.
Because I have no spirit. I have no gumption. Minnie, they're coming in here. Quick, let's go to the workroom and make them wait for us for a minute.
But my work.
Hurry up, Minnie, be quick.
Oh.
No one's here.
Well, there were some women here a minute ago. I saw them. Oh, that's Wolf Trap, all right. Well, we'll just have to hide in here until he passes by, that's all.
Oh, he's sitting down on that bench. Maybe quite a while.
Well, when these women come in, we'll just have to make conversation until he goes away. We'll pretend we're buying a hat. How much money have you got now?
Well, 40 cents for dinner, 70 cents for the train. Oh, 20 cents to see the whale.
Whale.
And $1. Oh, Cornelius, I lost the $1. Oh, 70 cents left, Cornelius.
I have $1.75. Wish I knew how much hats cost.
Cornelius, is this an adventure?
No, but it may be.
I think it is. There we wander New York all day long and nothing happens. Then we come to the quietest street in the whole city, and suddenly Mr. Vandergelder turns a corner. I think it's an adventure, Cornelius. I think, oh, Cornelius, that Mrs. Levi is there with him now. She's sitting down on the bench with him.
Well, what do you know about that? We know one person in all New York City. There she is.
Well, even if our adventure came along now, I'd be too tired to enjoy it. Cornelius, why isn't this an adventure?
Well, don't be saying that. When you're in an adventure, you'll know all right.
Maybe I wouldn't. Cornelius, let's arrange a signal for you to give me if it's an adventure we're in. For instance, Cornelius, you say, pudding.
Pudding?
Yeah, say pudding to me if it's an adventure we're in, Cornelius.
I wonder where the lady is who runs this store. What's her name again?
Oh, Mrs. Malloy's Hats for Ladies.
Oh, you know, I should think about what I'm going to say when she comes in. Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy. Wonderful weather we're having. We've been looking everywhere for some beautiful hats.
Oh, that's fine, Cornelius.
Okay, I'll just practice a little. Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy. Wonderful. Hey, we'll make her think we're really rich.
Oh, yeah.
What's this? Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy. Hey, Barnaby, you keep an eye on the door the whole time, okay? We've been looking everywhere for some beautiful hats.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have I kept you waiting? Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Here, Cornelius Hackle.
Here, Barnaby Tucker.
Very happy to meet you. Perhaps I can help you. Won't you sit down?
Thank you. We will. Oh, yeah, you see, Mrs. Malloy, we're looking for hats.
Is that so?
We've looked everywhere. You know what we heard? Go to Mrs. Malloy, they said, and so we came here. The only place we could go.
Why, now that's very complimentary.
And they were right. Everybody was right.
So, you're here to choose some hats for a friend?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
We were thinking 5 or 6, weren't we, Barnaby?
5.
You see, money's no object with us, Mrs. Malloy. None at all.
By Mr. Hackle.
Beg your pardon. What an interesting street. Something happening every minute. Oh, look, yes.
So you're from out of town, Mr. Hackle?
Yes, ma'am. Barnaby, just keep an eye on the street, will you? You won't see that in Yonkers every day.
Oh, yes, I will.
Not all of it.
Now, this friend of yours, can't she come in the store with you sometime and choose her hats herself?
Well, no, it's a surprise for her.
Indeed. Well, that may be a little difficult, Mr. Hackle. It's not entirely customary. Your friend is very interested in the street, Mr. Hackle.
Yes, well, he has a reason to be.
You said you were from out of town.
Yes, we're from Yonkers.
Yonkers!
Yonkers. Oh, yes, you had Mrs. Malloy. You should know Yonkers. Hudson River, Palisades, Drives. Some say it's the most beautiful town in the world. That's what they say.
Is that so?
Mrs. Malloy, if you ever had a Sunday free, I'd love to show you Yonkers. You know, it's very historic, too.
Well, that's very kind of you. Well, perhaps... Now, about those hats.
Is there a... do you have a... No. Perhaps, Mr. Malloy would like to see Yonkers, too?
Oh, I'm a widow, Mr. Hackle.
Oh, you are? Oh, sorry, that's too bad. Mr. Malloy would have enjoyed Yonkers.
Very likely. Now, this friend of yours, is she light or dark?
Oh, no, don't give that a thought. Any hat that you would like would be perfectly all right with her.
Really? How about this one?
Oh, Barnaby, look!
Oh, that's fine, Cornelius.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, that is the most beautiful hat I ever saw.
Your friend is acting very strangely, Mr. Hackle.
Excuse me. Barnaby, he's acting strangely. When the street is quiet and still, just come back and talk to us, okay? Sorry. Where was I? Oh, yes. Mrs. Malloy, you should know Yonkers.
The fact is, I have a friend in Yonkers. Perhaps you know him. It's always silly to ask in cases like that, isn't it? It's a Mr. Vandergelder.
What did you just say?
Then you know him?
Horace Vandergelder?
Yes, that's right.
Know him?
No.
What an attractive shop you have, Mrs. Malloy. Where does this door lead to?
That's my workroom, Mr. Hackle.
Everything here is so interesting. Every door, every corner. Mr. Malloy, Barnaby, notice the interesting doors and cupboards. Ah, yes. Highly interesting coats for ladies. Barnaby, notice the table here with a low-hanging cloth. See?
Perhaps your friend might like some of this new Italian straw. Mr. Vandergelder's a very substantial man, or so they tell me.
Oh, yes, he's a lovely man.
Yes, charming.
He's just got just one fault as far as I know. He's hard as nails. But apart from that, he has a charming nature, ma'am.
And a large circle of friends?
Oh, yes, 5 or 6.
Five.
He comes and calls on you here from time to time, I suppose.
Next summer, we'll be wearing ribbons down our backs. Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm expecting a call from him this afternoon.
Cornelius, I think.
Now, those hats.
Oh, look out!
Beg your pardon, Mrs. Malloy.
Gentlemen, Mr. Hackle, come out of there this minute.
Just help us just this once, Mrs. Malloy. We'll explain later.
Mr. Hackle!
We're as innocent as can be, Mrs. Malloy.
Gentlemen, but really, I can't have this. Come out of there. What are you doing?
Cornelius, pudding?
Pudding!
Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy. Oh, God be good to us. You're looking well.
What a surprise! And Mr. Vandergelder in New York. What a pleasure.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy.
Yes, Mr. Vandergelder's in New York today. Yonkers lies up there somewhere decimated. Oh, now, we thought we'd stop in and pay you a quick call. You'll let us know if it's inconvenient, won't you, Irene?
Inconvenient, Dolly, the idea. It's sweet of you to stop by.
We waited outside a moment.
Yes, Mr. Vandergelder thought he saw 2 customers coming in. 2 men.
Men, Mr. Vandergelder. What will you be saying next?
Oh, well, then I guess we'll just stay and visit for a time, won't we?
Before you sit down, I have something to show you. I would like to show Mr. Vandergelder my workroom.
Oh, I've seen the workroom lots of times. I'm going to stay here and try on one of these hats.
No, Dolly, I have something to give you. Come along to the workroom, everyone. Mr. Vandergelder, you have no idea how helpless a woman in business can be. I need your advice. I think every day that I need advice from a fine business head such as yours. Now I shut the door.
Maybe she wants us to go, Cornelius.
Certainly I won't go. Mrs. Malloy would think we're just foolish fellows. No, all I want is to stretch for a minute, that's all.
Well, what are we going to do when Mr. Vandergelder goes, Cornelius?
I don't know that yet. Look, I like Mrs. Malloy a lot. I don't want her to think badly of me. I think I'll buy a hat. Look, we can walk back to Yonkers, even if it takes us all night. I wonder how much hats cost, though. Barnaby, give me all the money you've got. Sorry. The perfumes in that cupboard, they tickle my nose. I like it in there, though. It's a woman's world. It's very different.
Oh, I like you right too, Cornelius. Only I'd like it better if I had a pillow.
I'll take one of these coats. Here, I'll roll it up for you so it doesn't get mussed. Ladies don't like having their coats mussed.
Oh, that's fine, Cornelius. Then I could just lie under here and hear Mr. Vandergelder talk.
This summer, we'll be wearing ribbons down our backs.
Can I take my shoes off, Cornelius?
Isn't the world full of wonderful things? I mean, there we sit, cooped up in Yonkers for years and years, and all the time, wonderful people like Mrs. Malloy are walking around in New York City, and we don't know them at all. I don't know whether, from where you're sitting, you can see, well, for instance, the way her eye and forehead and cheek come together up here. Can you? And the kind of fireworks that shoot out of her eyes all the time. You know, I tell you right now, a fine woman is the greatest work of God. You can talk all you want about Niagara Falls and the pyramids. They are not in it at all. They are so different from men. Everything they do is just so different. You just want to laugh all the time. Oh, golly, they're different from men. And they're awfully mysterious, too. You can never quite be sure what's going on in their heads. They have a kind of a wall around them all the time of pride and a kind of play acting. You know, I bet you could know a woman 100 years and still not really be sure whether she liked you or not. Right now, I'm in danger. I'm in danger of losing my job and my future and all the things that people say are important. But I don't care. Even if I have to dig ditches for the rest of my life, I'll be a ditch digger who once had a wonderful day. Barnaby! Barnaby!
Oh, you woke me up.
Barnaby, we can't go back to Yonkers yet. You know why?
Why not?
Well, we've had a good meal. We've had an adventure. We've been in danger of getting arrested. There's just one more thing we have to do before we can go back to be successes in Yonkers.
Cornelius, you're never going to kiss Mrs. Malloy.
Maybe.
But she'll scream.
Barnaby, you don't know anything at all. You might as well know that everybody except you and me goes through life kissing people left and right all the time.
Oh, I often wondered about that, Cornelius.
Just a minute, Irene. I have a handkerchief. Well, Mr. Hackle, I thought you were up to Yonkers.
Well, I almost always am, Mrs. Levi. Mrs. Levi, please don't tell Mr. Vandergelder. Well, I'll explain everything later.
We're as innocent as can be, Mrs. Lloyd.
Who's that?
Oh, Barnaby Tucker, just paying a call.
Is there anyone else here?
Oh, no, just the two of us, Mrs. Levi, that's all.
Old friends of Mrs. Malloy's, I suppose.
No, well, we only met her a few minutes ago, but we like her a lot, don't we, Barnaby?
Yeah.
In fact, I think she's the finest person in the world. I'm ready to tell that to anybody.
And does she think you're the finest person in the world?
Oh no, I don't suppose she even notices that I'm alive.
Well, I suppose she notices you're alive in that cupboard, Mr. Hackle. And if I were you, I would get right back in there. Someone could be coming in any minute.
Dolly, can I help you?
Oh, no, thank you. I was just blowing my nose.
Mrs. Malloy, I've got some advice to give you about your business.
Advice from Mr. Vandergelder. The whole city should hear this.
In the first place, the aim of business is to make profit.
Is that so?
You pay those girls of yours too much. You pay them as much as men. Girls like that enjoy their work. Wages, Mrs. Malloy, are paid to make people do work they don't want to do.
He thinks so ably, and he runs his business up at Yonkers, just like that.
Mrs. Malloy, I'd like for you to come up to Yonkers.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. As a matter of fact, I know someone in Yonkers. Someone else.
Oh? Who's that?
Someone quite well-to-do, I believe, though a little free and easy in his behavior. Mr. Vandergelder, do you know Mr. Cornelius Hackle in Yonkers?
Cornelius Hackle? I know him like I know my own boot. He's my head clerk.
Is that so?
He's been in my store for 10 years.
Well, I've never.
Where would you have known him, Mrs. Malloy?
Oh, well, you know, I suppose it was just one of those chance meetings.
Yes. One of those chance meetings.
What? Chance meetings? Cornelius Hackle has no right to chance meetings. Where was it?
Mr. Vandergelder, it's very unlike you to question me in such a way. Mr. Hackle is better known than you think he is.
Nonsense.
He's in New York often, and he's very well liked.
Well, truth might as well come out now as later. Oh, right, Irene. Mr. Vandergelder, Irene is right. Your chief clerk is in New York often, goes everywhere, has an army of friends. Why, everybody knows Cornelius Hackle.
He's never in New York. He works all day in my store, and at 9 o'clock at night, he goes to sleep in the brand room.
So you think, but that's not true.
Dolly Gallagher, you're crazy.
Oh, Horace, you keep your nose so deep in your account books, you don't know what goes on. Yes, by day, Cornelius Hackle is your trusted clerk. But by night, oh, wow, by night, well, he just leads a double life. He's here at the opera, at the great restaurants, and all the finest homes. Why, he's at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant 3 times a week. Fact is, he's the most delightful, wittiest, charming man in New York City. He's just the Cornelius Hackle, the famous
He's the
Cornelius
same
Hackle.
man. If I ever thought Cornelius Hackle came to New York, I'd discharge him.
Who took the horses from Jenny Lynn's carriage and pulled her through the street? Who? Cornelius Hackle. And who took an oyster? First dressed up as a waiter at the Fifth Avenue Hotel, then took an oyster and dropped it right down Mrs. Oh, no, too wicked to tell.
Go on, tell it, Dolly.
No, but it was Cornelius Hackle.
It ain't the same man. Where'd he get the money?
Oh, he's very rich.
Rich. I keep his money in my own safe. He's got $146.35.
Oh, Mr. Vandergelder, you're killing me. Come to your senses. He's one of the Hackles.
The Hackle.
They built the Raritan Canal.
Then why should he work in my store?
Well, I'll tell you.
I don't want to hear it. I've got a headache. I'm going home. It ain't the same man. He sleeps in my brand room. You can't get away from facts. I just made him my chief clerk.
If you had any sense, you'd make him your partner. Oh, Irene, I can see that you were taken with him like everybody else.
Oh, I only met him once, very hastily.
But I can still see you were taken with him like everyone. Irene, don't you be thinking of marrying him.
Dolly, what are you saying?
Well, maybe it'd be fine, but think it over carefully. He breaks hearts like hickory nuts.
Who?
Cornelius Hackle.
Mrs. Malloy, how often has he called on you?
Mr. Vandergelder, I'm telling the truth. I've only met him once. Dolly Levi is exaggerating so. I don't know where to look.
Oh, excuse me, Miss Malloy. I'm here to get Mrs. Parkington's order ready.
Yes, we must get that off before tomorrow.
I'd like to send it by the errand girl. Oh, I almost forgot the coat.
I'll get that.
Help me! Oh, there is a man in the closet!
You imagined it, dear.
No, there's a man! There's a man in that closet!
You're tired.
No, there's a man in there!
Go in the workroom and lie down.
There's a man in there!
man in there, see? Miss Faye's nerves are playing tricks on her. Come, Mr. Van de Gelder, sit down. What were you telling me? Well then. God bless you.
Yes, there is a man in there. I'll explain it all to you another time. Thank you very much for coming to see me. Good afternoon, Mr. Van de Gelder. Good afternoon, Miss Levi.
You're protecting a man in there.
There is a perfectly good explanation, but for now, good afternoon.
Achoo! Achoo! Good Lord, the whole room's crawling with men. I'll never get over it.
The world's falling to pieces. I can't believe my own eyes.
Oh, come, Mr. Van de Gelder. Ernestina Simple's waiting for us.
Mrs. Malloy, I shan't trouble you again. And vice versa.
Irene, when I think of all the interesting things you have in this room, make the most of it, dear. Goodbye. Goodbye.
So this is one of your practical jokes, Mr. Hackle.
Oh, no, Mrs. Malloy. I just...
Come out of there, Barnaby Tucker, you troublemaker. Minnie, don't be afraid. I know all about these gentlemen. You think because you're rich, you can make up for all the harm you do. Is that it?
No, that's not it. No.
Minnie, this is the famous Cornelius Hackle, who runs around New York tying people into knots. And that's Barnaby Tucker, another troublemaker.
How do you do?
Minnie, choose yourself any hat and coat in the store. We're going out to dinner.
Pardon?
If this Mr. Hackle is so rich and gay and charming, he's going to be rich and gay and charming with us. He dines 3 times a week at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant, does he? Well, he's taking us there now.
But are you sure it's safe?
Hold your tongue, Minnie. We're in a position to put these men into jail if they so much as squeak.
Jail, Mrs. Malloy?
Jail?
Jail, Mr. Hackle. Officer Cogarty does everything I tell him to do. Minnie, you and I have been respectable for years, and now we're in disgrace. We may as well make the most of it. Let's go in the workroom. I know some ways we can perk up our appearance. Gentlemen, we'll be back in a minute.
Oh, but Mrs. Malloy, I hear there's an awfully good restaurant at the railway station.
The railway station. The railway station. Certainly not. No, sir. You're going to give us a good meal in the heart of the fashionable world. Don't you boys forget that you've made us lose our reputation, and now the heart of the fashionable world's the only place we can eat.
Well, she's angry at us, Cornelius. We should run away now.
No, I'm going to go through with this if it kills me. Barnaby, for a woman like that, a man could consent to go back to Yonkers and be a success.
Well, no woman's gonna make a success out of me.
Well, jail or no jail, we are taking those 2 ladies out to dinner, so grit your teeth.
Gentlemen, the cabs are at the corner, so forward march.
Yes, ma'am. Cabs. Mrs. Malloy, is it far to the restaurant? Couldn't we just walk?
Minnie, take off your things. We're not going.
Oh, but Mrs. Malloy, no,
I don't go anywhere I'm not wanted, Mr. Hackle. Good night. I'm not very happy to have met you.
Oh, but Mrs. Malloy,
I suppose you think we're not fashionable enough.
No, that's not it.
Well, I won't be a burden to you. Good night, Mr. Tucker.
We want you to come with us more than anything in the world, Mrs. Malloy.
No, you don't. Look at the 2 of you. Look at them, Minnie. Scowling, the both of them.
Please, Mrs. Malloy.
Then smile. Go on, smile. not good enough. Come with me, Minnie. We'll go get our own supper.
Barnaby, smile, you lout.
Oh, my face can't smile any stronger than that, Cornelius.
Then do something else. Show some interest. Do something lively. Sing.
Oh, no, I can't sing. I can't.
We're wasting our time, Minnie. They don't want us.
Oh, Barnaby, what songs do you know? Mrs. Malloy, we know her sad songs.
It doesn't matter. If you want us to go to dinner with you, you have to sing something.
Many are the hearts that are weary tonight, wishing for the war to cease. Many are the hearts that are looking for the right to see the dawn of peace. Tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground.
We'll go.
Yes!
You boys go ahead. Minnie, you get the front door key.
Why, Mrs. Malloy? You are crying.
Minnie, the world is full of wonderful things. Watch me, dear, and tell me if my petticoat's showing. Camptown ladies sing this song, doo-da, doo-da. Camptown ladies,
Now hear what I say. I don't want you to make any mistakes. I want a table for 3.
For 3?
There'll be 2 ladies and myself.
It's a bad combination, Mr. Van Gelder. You'll regret it.
And I want a chicken.
A chicken? You'll regret it.
Hold your tongue. Write it down. Chicken.
Chicken Esterhazy, chicken hunter style, or chicken à la crème?
A chicken like everybody else has. And with the chicken, I want a bottle of wine.
Moselle, Chablis, or Beaujolais?
He doesn't understand English, Mr. Van Gelder. You better speak louder.
W-I-N-E.
Vine.
Vine. And I want this table removed. We'll eat at that table alone.
Yes, sir.
There's some people coming in here now, Mr. Van Gelder.
Oh, it's my niece and that artist. Hey, what are they doing here? The traitors, the scoundrels.
Mr. Van Gelder, remember what Napoleon said.
And there's Mrs. Levi with them. Wait till I get my hands on them.
Remember what Napoleon said, Mr. Van Gelder.
Napoleon said what?
First, observe the enemy. Hide. Listen. Hear what they're planning. Napoleon, be a Napoleon, sir. Outsmart them, Mr. Van Gelder.
Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Now, Ermengarde, there's nothing wicked about eating in a restaurant. And there's nothing wicked even about being in New York. Clergymen just make those things up to fill out their sermons.
But I don't want to eat in a public restaurant like this.
Oh, that's all right, dear. There's some lovely private rooms upstairs meant just for some shy, timid girls like us.
Stack, I want to write a note.
Oh, yes, excuse me.
Go and call that cab man in here. I want to talk to him.
No one asks the advice of a cabman, Mr. Vandegelder. They see so much of life, they've got no ideas left.
Do as I tell you.
Yes, sir. Advice of a cabman.
My dear Miss Van Huysen. Everybody's dear in a letter. It's enough to make you give up writing them. My dear Miss Van Huysen, this is Ermengarde and that rascal Ambrose Kemper. They're trying to run away. Keep them at your house until I come.
What's he want?
I want to talk to you.
I'm engaged. I've got other parties.
I know you are. You want to earn $5?
Huh?
I asked you, do you want to earn $5?
I don't know. I never tried.
Look, when those parties of yours come down from upstairs, drive them to this address. Never mind what they tell you. Drive them to this address. See that they get in the door. Give the letter to the lady at the house and make sure they stay there.
I can't make people go in a house if they don't want to go.
Can you for $10?
Even for $10, I can't do it alone.
This fella here will help you.
Now, I'm pushing people into house.
Look, here's the address. Miss Flora Van Huysen, 8 Jackson Street.
Even if I get them in the door, I can't be sure that they'll stay there.
For $15 you can.
Murder begins at $25.
Hold your tongue. The lady of the house will help you. All you have to do is sit in the front hall and make sure the man doesn't run off with the girl. I'll be there myself in an hour or two. I'll pay you then.
If they call the police, I can't do anything.
This is perfectly honest business. Perfectly honest. The young lady is my niece. The young lady is my niece.
Okay, sir, okay.
She's trying to run away with a good-for-nothing, and we're preventing it.
I know them, sir. They'll win in the end. Rivers don't run uphill.
What did I tell you, Mr. Vandegelder? The advice of a cabman.
Stack, I'll be back in a half an hour. See that that table is set for 3, and that nobody eats there. Then go and join the cabman on the box.
Very good, sir.
Who's your friend?
Friend? Oh, that's not a friend. That's an employer I'm trying out for a few days.
You're not gonna like him.
I can see you're in business for yourself because you talk about liking an employer. No one's liked an employer since business began. I suppose you think your horse likes you.
Why, Clementine? She'd give her right feet for me.
That's what all employers think. They imagine it. The streets of New York are filled with cab horses all winking at one another. Here, let's go in the kitchen and get some whiskey. I can't push people into houses while I'm... No, I've had about 50 employers in my life, and this one is the most employer of them all. He talks to everybody as though he were paying them.
I had an employer once, too. He would just sit there from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. and watch me. Even my own mother didn't think I was as interesting as all of that.
You know, being employed is like being loved. You know that somebody's thinking about you the whole time. Let's go in here. The kitchen's over here.
See, this is the place I meant. Isn't it fine? Minnie, take off your things. We'll be here for hours.
But are you sure you're going to like it here, Mrs. Malloy? I think I feel a draft.
Indeed, I do like it. We're going to have a fine dinner right in this room. It's private and it's elegant. Now, we're all going to forget our troubles and call each other by our first names. Cornelius! Call the waiter.
Right. I can't make a sound. I think I caught a cold on the ride over. See? Nothing.
I don't believe you. Barnaby, you call him.
Waiter! Waiter!
Mrs. Malloy, I never dreamed I'd be in such a place as this my whole life. Is this what they call a cafe?
Yes, this is a cafe. Sit down, Minnie. Now, Cornelius, Mrs. Levi gave us to understand that every waiter in New York knew you.
They will.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Fritz, my friend. Hello, how are you?
I am Rudolph.
Rudolph! Yes, of course you are, Rudolph. Rudolph, the ladies here, they would like a little something to eat. Little. Do you know what I mean? Just if you're not too busy, if you have the time, we know how busy you are.
Cornelius, there's no need to be so familiar with the waiter.
Oh, yes, there is.
Minnie, what would you like to eat?
Oh, just anything. Irene.
No, Minnie, what do you want?
I really have no appetite. I'll just have some sardines on toast and a glass of milk.
Great grindstones, what a sensible girl. Barnaby, shake Minnie's hand. She is the most sensible girl in the world. All right, Rudolph, bring us gentlemen 2 glasses of beer, a loaf of bread, and some cheese.
I never heard of such nonsense. Cornelius, we've come here for a good meal and a good time. Minnie, have you ever eaten pheasant?
Pheasant? No.
Rudolph, have you any pheasant?
Yes, ma'am. Just in from New Jersey today.
Even the pheasants are leaving New Jersey. Rudolph, write this down. Mock turtle soup.
Mock turtle soup.
Pheasant.
Pheasant.
Mashed chestnuts.
Mashed chestnuts.
Green salad.
Green salad.
And some nice red wine.
Some nice red wine.
Right? Barnaby, you watch this. All right, Rudolph, you write this down. Neapolitan ice cream. Hothouse peaches. Champagne.
Oh, champagne!
And the German band. You got a German band?
No, Cornelius, I won't let you be extravagant.
Okay.
Champagne, but no band. Now hurry up, Rudolph. We're hungry.
Yes, ma'am.
Minnie, come upstairs with me. I have an idea about your hair. I think you would look nice in 2 wee horns.
Oh, horns.
Cornelius, they say in the army you have to curry horses all the time.
Doesn't matter. By the time we get out of jail, we can move right on over to the old man's home.
Waiter, what's that? What's that you have?
Champagne, ma'am.
Cornelius, it's our champagne.
Oh, no. It's for His Honor, the Mayor of New York.
Shame on you.
He's very impatient.
The mayor of New York has more important things to be impatient about. Cornelius, open it.
No. He'll kill me, ma'am. He'll kill me.
We'll have a glass first and die happy.
Oh,
I go to a public restaurant for the first time in 10 years and all the waiters burst into tears. There, take that and stop crying, love. Barnaby, make a toast.
To all the ladies in the world, may I get to know more of them, and may I get to know them better.
The ladies!
Minnie, for that, I'm going to give Barnaby a kiss. Hold your tongue, Minnie. I'm old enough to be his mother. Barnaby, this is from all the ladies in the world. darning my stockings. Cornelius, dance with me.
Oh, no, the Hackles don't dance, Irene. We're Presbyterian.
Minnie, you dance with me.
All right, Irene.
Why, you dance beautifully, Minnie.
Well, thank you. We girls practice in the workroom while you're not around.
You thought I would be cross, so you didn't ask me to dance. Cornelius, Jenny Lind, and all those other ladies, do you see them all the time?
Oh, no, I put them completely out of my mind, Irene. I would like to...
Rudolph! What are you doing?
A table's been reserved to his special orders.
Stop right where you are. This veranda is ours.
I'm very sorry, but this veranda is open to anyone who wants it. Ah, there comes the man who brought the order.
Take that table away from here. We got here first. Cornelius, throw him out.
Ma'am, my employer reserved this room at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Used ones can go eat in the restaurant. My employer said it was very important for him to have a table alone.
No, sir. We got here first, and we're going to stay here. Alone, too.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a suggestion.
Shut up, you. You are an impertinent, idiotic killjoy.
Well, that's an insult.
Everything about you is an insult. Cornelius, do something. Knock it over. The table.
I'm sorry, but if you want to eat alone, you'll have to eat upstairs. I'm sorry, but that's the rule.
We're having a fine dinner in this room, and we're going to stay here. Cornelius, knock it over.
No, not again!
Wait till you see my employer!
Ladies and gentlemen, I have an idea. We'll put the screen between the tables.
No.
I won't eat behind the screen. I won't. Minnie, make a noise.
Rudolph.
We're not animals in some menagerie. Cornelius,
No scream.
no scream.
No.
There's a fight. I feel 10 years younger. No scream. No scream.
Now you learn something. Here comes my employer now. Get out of that cab.
Where I'll knock him down, too.
Cornelius, it's Wolf Trap!
Listen, everybody, I think the screen's a really good idea. We don't have any more screens. We can use maybe 3 or 4.
Cornelius, quiet down and stop changing your mind. And Rudolph, hurry up. We're ready for the soup.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the meaning of this? I told you I wanted a table alone. What's this?
Mr. Van Gelder, I did the best I could. Mr. Van Gelder, you wouldn't believe what wild savages the people of New York are. There's a woman over there, Mr. Van Gelder. Civilization hasn't touched her.
Everything's wrong. You can't even manage a thing like that. Here, help me off with my coat. Don't kill me. Don't kill me.
Speak up. I can't hear you.
It's my voice again. Pardon me, how's your throat? Can you talk? Not a sound.
All right, bring your heads together and we'll whisper.
Who are those people over there?
Oh, just some city sparks and their girls, Mr. Van Gelder. What goes on in big cities, you don't want to think about it.
Has that couple come down from upstairs yet? I hope they haven't gone off without your noticing.
Oh, no. The cabman and I kept a close eye on everybody.
I'll sit here and wait for my guests. You go out to the cab.
Yes, sir. Hey, what's this? A purse? Mr. Van Gelder, did you drop something?
No, don't bother me. Do as I tell you.
A purse, huh? Oh, that fellow over there must have let it fall during a misunderstanding about the screen. I won't look inside. $20 bills. Dozens of them. And I'll go give it back to him. What, you surprised? Surprised to see me giving up this money so quickly? Let me try and explain. There was a time in my life when my chief interest was picking up money that didn't belong to me. Now, the law is there to protect property, but sure, the law doesn't care whether the property owner deserves the property or not. And the law has to be corrected. There are several thousands of people in this country engaged in the correction of the law. For a while, I too was engaged in the redistribution of superfluity. Now, a man works hard all his life, and he leaves $1 million to his widow. And she sits in fine hotels, eating grand meals and playing cards all afternoon and evening, with 10 diamonds on her fingers. Call in the robbers. Call in the robbers. Or a man leaves it to his son, who stands leaning against the bar day and night, boring the bartender. Call in the robbers. Now, people say that you should have no weaknesses, no vices. But if a man had no vices, he'd be in great danger of making vices out of his virtues. And there's a spectacle. We've all seen them. Men who are monsters of philanthropy and women who are dragons of purity. We've seen people who must tell the truth, though the heavens fall. And the heavens fell. No. Nurse one vice in your bosom. Give it the attention that it deserves, and let your virtues spring up modestly around it. Then you'll have the miser who's no liar, and the drunkard who's the benefactor of an entire city. Well, after I'd had that weakness for stealing for a while, I developed another. I took to whiskey, or whiskey took to me. But then I discovered an important truth, which I'm going to pass on to you. Never support two weaknesses at the same time. It's your combination sinners, your lecherous liars, your miserly drunkards, who dishonor the vices and bring them into bad repute. So now you can see why I want to get rid of this money. I want to keep my mind free so I can do the credit to whiskey that it deserves. And my last word of advice to you, ladies and gentlemen, is this: one vice at a time. Excuse me, may I speak to you for a minute?
Oh, yes, you certainly may. We want to apologize to you for that thing with the screen, that little misunderstanding there.
Yes, I'm very sorry.
Oh, don't mention it.
What's your name, sir?
Stack, sir. Malachi Stack. Now, if you ladies will excuse me, I'd like to speak to you for a minute. Come here, boy. Have you lost... come here. Have you lost something?
Oh, Mr. Stack, in this one day I've lost everything I own.
Well, there it is. Don't mention it.
Mr. Stack! You know what this is? It's a miracle! Barnaby! Shake hands with Mr. Stack. Mr. Stack found the purse, Barnaby, the purse I lost. The purse full of money.
Oh, you're a wonderful man, Mr. Stack.
Don't mention it. It's nothing.
Oh, I'm certainly glad I went to church all those years. You're a good man to know, Mr. Stack. By the way, Mr. Stack, where do you work?
Oh, I've just started. I work for Mr. Vandergelder in Yonkers.
You do? It's a miracle. Hey, Mr. Stack, I know you don't need it, but can I give you something for your good work?
No, don't mention
Here,
it.
take that.
Don't mention it.
It's okay. Here, and that. Here, take that.
Oh, it's nothing really. No.
Okay, and that too.
Well, I better be going. I might get to like them. I better be going.
Oh, Irene! I feel so much better about everything. Irene, I feel so good. I'm going to tell the truth.
Minnie, I forgot that about men. They get drunk so differently than women. All right, what's the truth?
Well, now, if I tell the truth, will you let me put my arm around your waist?
Hold your tongue, Minnie. All right. I'll let you put your arm around my waist just to show it can be done in a gentlemanly way. But I'm warning you, a corset is a corset.
You're a wonderful person, Mrs. Malloy.
Thank you. All right, that's enough. Now, what's the truth?
Irene, I'm not as rich as Mrs. Levi said I was.
Not rich?
I almost never came to New York. And I'm not like she said I was. Bad. And I think you ought to know that at this moment, Mr. Van de Gelder is sitting on the other side of that screen.
Well, now. Well, we're not going to let him spoil our dinner. That's why we've been whispering. All right. We're going to all forget about Mr. Van der Gelder and enjoy some more wine. Come on, you know tune.
Yeah, but I don't know the words.
Good evening, Mr. Van de Gelder.
Where's Miss Simple?
Oh, I'll never trust that woman again as long as I live.
Well, what is it?
She ran away this afternoon and got married.
She did?
Married, Mr. Van de Gelder, to a young boy of 50.
She did?
Oh, I'm as disappointed as you are. I don't think I can eat a thing. What did you order?
I ordered what you told me to, a chicken.
Oh, I don't think I could face a chicken. Oh, waiter, what's your name?
August, ma'am.
August, this is Mr. Van de Gelder, Yonkers' most influential citizen. I want you to see that we're served with the best that you have and serve promptly.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Van de Gelder's been through some trying experiences today. Men hidden all over Mrs. Malloy's hat shop like Indians in an ambush.
You don't have to tell him everything about me.
Oh, Mr. Van de Gelder, if you're thinking about getting married, you might as well learn you have to let women be women. Now, August, we want excellent service.
Yes, ma'am.
You manage things very badly. When I plan a thing, it takes place. Where you go?
Oh, I just like to see who's on the other side of the screen.
Oh, Susanna.
Oh, it's all right. Go on, keep playing, keep singing. Enjoy yourself.
Well, who was it?
Oh, just some city sparks entertaining their girls, I guess.
Always wanting to know everything, always curious about everything, always putting your nose into other people's affairs. Anyone who lived with you would get as nervous as a cat.
What's that you're saying?
I said anyone who lived with you would get as nervous as a
Horace
cat.
Van de Gelder, you get that idea right out of your head. I'm surprised you even mentioned such a thing. Understand, once and for all, I have no intention of marrying you.
I didn't mean that.
You've been hinting around at such a thing for some time. From now on, remember, I have... Forget that idea, forget it.
Stop talking that way. It's not what I meant at all.
Well, I certainly hope not. If I had... No, you know, Horace, you need to go... You go your way, and I'll go mine.
Mrs. Levi, you misunderstood me.
Well, I hope I did. If I had any intention of marrying again, it'd be to a far more pleasure-loving man than you. Why, I'd marry Cornelius Hackle before I'd marry you. Here, have some wine. I do wonder where the food is. Ah, here he is. August.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll serve.
Yes, ma'am.
Looks lovely. We do need plates to eat off of.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what was I saying? Well, Horace, you're going to have some of the white meat and you're going to have some squash. And remember, you go your way and I'll go mine. Here, start writing on the wine. I think it'll make you feel better. However, since you brought up the matter, there is one more thing I'm going to say.
I didn't bring the matter up at all.
Oh, very well. Sit down, sit down. I'll close the subject as soon as I have my say. It's true, I'm a woman who likes to know everything that's going on, who likes to manage things, but I wouldn't like to manage anything as disorderly as your household, as out of control, as untidy. You'll have to do that yourself, God helping you.
It's not out of control.
Very well. Here, have some squash. No, Horace, a complaining, quarrelsome, friendless soul like you is no sort of companion for me. You go your way, and I'll go mine.
Stop talking that way. Stop saying that.
I won't say another word.
Besides, I'm not those things you said I am.
Well, I guess you're friendless, aren't you? Ermengarde told me this morning you quarreled with your barber, a man who's held a razor to your throat for 20 years. Seems to me that's sinking pretty low.
Well, we had a little discussion, and I said, but my clerk
They
said...
like you? Cornelius Hackle and that Barnaby? Behind your back, they call you Wolf Trap.
They don't.
They do. Well, you know, it seems to me I'm the last person in the world to like you, Horace, and even I'm so-so. I intend to enjoy the rest of my life. You'll be able to find a housekeeper who can prepare you 3 meals for $1 a day. It can be done if you like cold baked beans. And you'll spend your last days listening at keyholes for fear someone's cheating you.
Dolly, you're a damned exasperating woman.
There, you see? That's the difference between us. I'd be nagging you all day just to get a little spirit into you. You know, Horace, you can be a perfectly charming, witty, amiable man if you wanted to.
I don't want to be charming.
But you are. Look at you. You can't hide it.
Listening at keyholes, Dolly, you have no right to say those things to me.
Oh, I would think at your age you'd like to hear the honest truth. You and I are too old to be talking nonsense to each other.
My age? You're always talking about my age.
Well, I don't know what your age is, but I do know that up at Yonkers, with bad temper and bad food, you'll double it in 6 months. Let's talk about something else. However, before I close the subject, there is one more thing I'm going to say.
Don't.
Sometimes, just sometimes, I'm tempted to marry you out of sheer pity. And if the confusion in your household gets any worse, I may have to.
I haven't asked you to marry me.
Please don't.
And my house is not in confusion.
What with your niece up in a restaurant running around?
Oh, I fix that better than you know.
And your clerks running around behind your back through New York City?
They're in Yonkers, where they always are.
Nonsense.
What do you mean, nonsense?
Cornelius Hackle's on the other side of this screen that very minute.
It ain't the same man.
Oh, all right then. Go on. Push it down. Knock it over. Go and see.
I don't believe you.
Oh, very well. Eat your chicken. And you know, Horace, if your affairs went from bad to worse and you actually became miserable, I would feel it was my duty to come up to offer assistance to you in Yonkers. After all, I was your wife's oldest friend.
I don't know how you ever got any such notion. Now, understand once and for all, I have no intention of marrying anybody. Now, I'm tired and I don't want to talk.
I won't say another word either.
Irene, I think we ought to leave. Here, take this and pay the bill. Don't worry, it's not mine.
No. I'll tell you what we'll do. You boys put on our coats and hats. And if he comes stomping in here, he'll think you're girls.
With these things?
Yes, come on.
I've got a headache. I've had a bad day. I'm going to Flora Van Huysen's, and then I'm going back to my hotel. Here's the money to pay for the dinner. Here's the money to pay for... I've lost my purse.
Oh, ridiculous. I can't imagine you without your purse.
Or it's been stolen. Or left it in the cab. What am I going to do? I'm new at the hotel. They don't know me. I've never been here before. Stop eating that chicken. I can't pay for it.
Horace, I'll find you some money. Sit down and calm yourself.
Dolly Gallagher, I gave you $25 this morning.
Oh, I gave it to my lawyer. We'll get it from Ambrose Kemper upstairs.
I wouldn't take it.
Cornelius Hacko will loan it to us.
He's in Yonkers.
Cornelius, is that Mr. Vandergelder's purse?
Well, I didn't know it myself. I thought that it was just money wandering around loose that didn't belong to anybody.
Goodness, that's what politicians think.
Waiter! Waiter!
Look at Barnaby. Doesn't he make a lovely girl?
There's that gypsy. Oh, why should we have our evening spoiled? Cornelius, I can teach her to dance in just a few minutes. He won't recognize you.
Oh, Horace, listen to that music. You danced with me at your wedding, and you danced with me at mine. Do you remember?
No.
Horace,
Yes.
you were a wonderful dancer then. Don't tell me you're too old to dance now.
I'm not too old. I just don't
Well,
want to
then
dance.
come on.
You're discharged. Not a word. You're fired. Where's that idiot Barnaby Tucker?
Cornelius!
Cornelius! You're discharged. You're discharged.
Mr. Vandergelder, there's your life without niece, without clerks, without bride, and without purse. Now will you marry me?
No.
Damn!
No, ma'am. I could swear I heard a cab drawing up to the door.
You imagined it. Imagination. Everything in life like that. Disappointment, illusion, our plans, our hopes. What becomes of them? Nothing. This is the story of my life.
Pray God nothing's happened to the dear girl. Is it a long journey from Yonkers?
No, but long enough for 1,000 things to happen.
Well, we've been waiting all day. Don't you think we ought to call the police about it?
The police? Why, if it's God's will, the police can't prevent it. Oh, in 3 days, in a week, in a year, we'll know what's happened. But if anything really terrible has happened to Ermengarde Cook, why, it'll be a lesson to him. That's what it'll be.
To who?
To Horace Vandergelder, of course, and to all who try to separate young lovers. Young lovers have enough to contend with as it is. Who should know that better than I? No one. Story of my life. There! Now I hear a cab. Quick!
No, ma'am. I don't see anything.
There, what did I tell you? Everything in life is imagination, illusion.
Well, surely if they've changed their plans, Mr. Vandergelder would have sent you a message.
Oh, I know what's probably happened. That poor girl probably thought she was going to another prison, another tyrant. If she'd only known that I was her friend, and a friend of all young lovers, why, she'd be here by now, Yes, you know she would. Her life shall not be strewn with obstacles and disappointments and, cook! A minute ago, my smelling salts were with me, and now they've completely disappeared. Oh, where are they? Oh, dear me, I have to have my smelling salts!
Oh, why, there they are, ma'am. Right there in your hand.
Goodness, how did they get there? I shan't inquire. Stranger things have happened. La-dee-dee, la-dee-da, da-dee-da.
Well, I suppose Mr. Vandergelder would have sent her down with someone.
Two could go astray as easily as, shoo!
Oh, God bless you. Oh, now there's a cab drawing up.
Well, go and let them in, cook. It's probably, shoo! God bless you.
What's up?
What's going on here? It sounds as though I were hearing voices.
I don't want to go in. This is a free country, I tell you.
Farman! In you go. We've got orders.
You can't make a man go where he didn't want to go.
Begging your pardon, ma'am. Are you Miss Van Huysen?
Yes, I am, unfortunately. But what's all this noise about?
There are two people here that Mr. Vandergelder said must be brought to this house and kept here till he comes. And here's his letter to you.
Nobody has any right to tell me whom I'm to keep in my house if they don't want to stay.
That's right, man! Everybody's always talking about people breaking into houses, but I think there's more people interested to break out of houses. That's what I always say. Bring him in, Joe!
Oh, my!
This young lady and I have no business here. We jumped into a cab, we asked to be taken to the railway station, and these two men brought us here and they forced us to come inside. There's been a mistake.
Are you Miss Van Huysen?
Oh, everyone keeps asking me if my name is Miss Van Huysen. I think that's something I can decide for myself. Don't you? Now, would you two please sit down while I read this letter? Now, come on, be quiet and sit down.
Sit
down. This is Ermengarde. And that rascal, Ambrose Kemper. Well, at least now I know who you two are anyway. They are trying to run away. Oh, it's the story of my life. Mr. Kemper, you have nothing to fear. But who are you?
Me?
Yes, you.
I'm Joe. I'm gonna stay here until the old man comes. He owes me $15.
That's right, ma'am. We must stay here and see that they don't escape.
My dear child, take off those things and we'll go have some coffee. You two, go wait in the hall. I'll have coffee sent out to you. Cook.
Yes, ma'am.
You take them. Take them.
Look, ma'am, we're not the people you're expecting. There's no reason
Mr. Kemper, I'm not the tyrant that you think I am.
Oh, no, I don't think you're...
You don't have to be afraid of me.
I'm not afraid, it's just that...
I know you're trying to run away with this innocent young girl.
Dickie Bird.
Oh, get along. All my life, I have suffered from the interference of others. But you shall not suffer as I did. I would like you to place yourself completely in my hands. Ermengarde, where's your luggage?
We'll get it in the morning. It's been mislaid.
Oh, mislaid, how like life. Ermengarde, you shall wear some of my clothes.
Oh, I wouldn't be happy, really.
Oh, she's such a shy little thing, isn't she? Timid little darling. Cook!
Yes, ma'am.
Go and put some gingerbread in the oven and get the coffee ready while I draw a good hot bath for Ermengarde.
Oh, no, Miss Van Hyden, I don't think you...
Believe me, Ermengarde, your troubles are at an end. You two shall be married tomorrow. Oh, my dear girl, you look just like I did when I was your age. And your sufferings have been as mine. While you're bathing, I'm gonna come and tell you the story of my life.
Oh, I don't want to take a bath. I always catch cold.
Oh, no, dear, you won't catch cold. I'll just slap you all over. Well, I'll be back in a minute.
Hey, Barnaby. Think we could jump down from this window?
Yeah. Well, but we'd kill ourselves.
Well, I guess we'll just have to stay here and watch for something to happen. Barnaby, the situation's desperate.
Desperate? It's been desperate since 4:30, and it's been getting worse ever since. Now I have to take a bath and get slapped all over.
Ermengarde? Why are you still in those wet things? Your bath's nearly ready. Mr. Kemper, go into the kitchen and put your feet in the oven. What's that? It's the doorbell. I suspect it's your uncle.
There's the doorbell.
Well, Cook, go and answer it.
It's another man and a girl in a carriage.
You two come with me.
Hey.
But I don't want to take a bath. I just had one on Saturday.
No, that's impossible. Well, come in anyway. There's some mistake. I'll tell Miss Van Hyzen, but there is some mistake.
But I tell you, I'm Mr. Vandergelder's niece. I'm Ermengarde.
I beg your pardon, miss, but you can't be Miss Ermengarde.
But here I am, and that's my baggage.
Well, how do you do? I'll tell Miss Van Hyzen who you think you are. She won't like it.
You'll be okay now, Ermengarde. I better go before she sees me.
Ambrose, please stay. I feel so strange here.
I can't. Mr. Vandergelder, he'll be here any minute.
Ambrose, you can't go.
Ambrose, you can't go!
Ambrose, you can't leave me in this crazy house with those drunken men in the hall. Let's say you're someone else that Uncle sent to take care of me. Let's say you're Cornelius Hackle.
Who's Cornelius Hackle?
Oh, you know, he's chief clerk in Uncle's store.
No, I don't want to be Cornelius Hackle. No, just come away with me now. Well, I'll take you to my friend's house. I'll take you to Miss Levi's house.
Why, it was Mrs. Levi who threw us right in Uncle Horace's face. I wish I were back in Yonkers, where nothing ever happens.
What's all this I hear? I thought I told you to wait in the hallway. And who do you say that you are?
Aunt Flora, don't you remember me? I'm Ermengarde.
And you're Horace Vandergelder's niece?
Yes.
But he's already sent me another niece named Ermengarde.
But he doesn't have
And who is this?
This is Cornelius Hackle, Aunt Flora.
I never heard of him.
He's chief clerk in Uncle's store.
I never heard of him. The other Ermengarde came in with the man she's in love with, and that proves it. She came in with Mr. Ambrose Kemper.
Ambrose Kemper?
Kemper? Yes, Mr. Hackle. Mr. Ambrose Kemper. Oh, my dear child, what's troubling you?
Oh, dear. Nobody's anybody anymore.
My dear child, are you in love with this man?
Yes, I am.
I could see it. And are people trying to separate you?
Yes, they are.
Oh, I could tell. I could see it. Who? Horace Vandergelder?
Yes.
Mr. Hackle, consider me your friend. Let's go into the kitchen and get warm. We can decide later who everybody is. My dear child, would you like a good hot bath?
Yes, I would.
Well, when Ermengarde comes out, you can go in.
Can you...
Mr. Hack? Oh, I'll explain later. It's okay.
Mr. Kemper? Mr. Kemper!
Oh, yes.
Mr. Kemper?
Yes.
I would like to introduce you to Mr. Cornelius Hackle. Mr. Hackle, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Ambrose Kemper. Perhaps you two gentlemen know one another.
No, Miss Van Huysen. I know this man's not Ambrose Kemper.
And he's not Cornelius Hackle.
My dear young man, what does it matter what your names are? The important thing is that you are you. You're alive and breathing, aren't you, Mr. Hackle?
Miss Van Huysen.
And this dear child imagines that she's Horace Vandergelder's niece, Ermengarde. The only thing that matters is that you're all in love. Everything else is illusion.
Ouch! Oh, Miss Van Huysen.
Everyone keeps asking me about my name, Miss Van Huysen. Ouch! Oh, yes, I am. Gentlemen, I'd like you to sit down and have a nice chat while this dear girl has a good hot bath. Oh, there's the doorbell.
There's a doorbell again.
Well, cook, go and answer it.
It's a cab with 3 ladies in it. I never saw such a night.
Gentlemen, rest assured. I will see to it that Mr. Vandergelder allows his nieces to marry you both.
Good evening, Flora. How are you?
Dolly Gallagher, what brings you here?
Good heavens, Flora. What are those 2 drunken men doing in your hallway?
I don't know. Horace Vandergelder sent them to me.
Well, I brought you 2 girls in much the same condition. Otherwise, they're the finest girls in the world. Oh, now be careful. Careful. This is Irene Malloy.
Delighted to know you.
And Minnie Fay.
Won't you ladies sit down?
I see you 2 gentlemen are here, too. I was about to look for you somewhere here, Mr. Hackle.
Yes, Mrs. Leave, I am prepared to face anything now.
Well, Mr. Vandergelder will be here in a moment. He's downstairs trying to pay the cabman without any money.
Oh, I can help him.
Oh, could you, dear? But, you had to pay all the bills in the restaurant. Goodness, there must be hundreds of dollars in here.
This is his own purse he lost. If I give it back to him, he'll...
I'll give it to him. Why don't you help him with that?
I'll get that, Mr. Vandergelder.
Oh, Mr. Vandergelder, you're discharged. You too. So I've caught up with you at last. I never want to see you again. You're discharged. Get out of this house, both of you.
Now then, you stop ordering people out of my house. You can shout and carry on all you want up in Yonkers, but when you're in my house, you will behave yourself.
They're both dishonest scoundrels.
Take off your hat. Not in a barn. Gentlemen, you stay right where you are.
Yeah, but Mr. Vandergelder, I can explain.
Horace, there's not going to be any explanations. You stop scowling at Mr. Kemper and forgive him.
That's not Kemper. That's a dishonest rogue named Cornelius Hackle.
You're crazy. That's Cornelius Hackle.
I guess I know my own chief clerk.
I don't care what their names are. Either you shake hands with them both, or out. Out you go.
Shake hands with those dogs and scoundrels?
Now, Mr. Van de Gelder, you've had a very bad day. You don't want to go out in the rain now. So, just for form's sake, shake their hands. You can quarrel again tomorrow.
There, don't regard that as a handshake. I never want to see you again.
Miss Van Huysen? Yes, dear? Do I smell coffee? Yes, dear. Can I have some good and black? Come along, everybody. Let's all go into the kitchen and have some coffee. Horace, you'll be interested to know that there are 2 Ermengardes in there.
You're a good dancer. Oh.
Ephraim Levi, I'm going to get married again. I'm going to marry Horace Van de Gelder for his money. I'm going to send his money out doing all the things you taught me. And Ephraim, it won't be a marriage in the sense we had, but I will certainly make him happy. And Ephraim, I'm tired of living from hand to mouth, and I'm asking your permission, Ephraim. Will you give me away? Money. Oh, money, money. It's like the sun we walk under. It can kill and it can cure. Horace Van de Gelder's never tired of saying, most of the world are fools. And in a way, he's right, isn't he? Oh, himself and Irene and Cornelius and myself. But there comes a moment in everyone's life when he must decide if he's going to live among human beings or not. A fool among fools or a fool alone. Well, as for me, I've decided to live among them. It wasn't always so. After my husband died, I retired into myself. Oh, at night I'd put out the cat and I'd lock the door and I'd make myself a little rum toddy. And before I went to bed, I'd say a prayer thanking God that I was independent, that no one else's life was mixed up with mine. And as the church, Trinity Tower Church, struck 10, I fell off to sleep, a perfectly contented woman. And then one night, after about 2 years, an oak leaf fell out of my Bible. It was a perfectly good oak leaf. I had placed it there on the day my husband asked me to marry him. It was a fine leaf, but it was without color and without form. And suddenly I realized that I had not shed a tear for a longest time, nor had been outrageously happy, nor had I been filled with the wonderful hope that something or other would turn out fine. I saw that I was like that oak leaf. And on that night, I decided to rejoin the human race. On that night, I heard many hours chime off from the Trinity Church Tower. Now, you and I have known lots of people who have decided, like Horace and like myself for a long time, not to live among human beings. Oh, they move out among them, they talk to them, they even marry them. But at heart, they've decided not to have anything to do with the human race. If you accept human beings and are willing to live among them, you acknowledge that every man has a right to his own mistakes. Oh yeah, we're all fools and we're all in danger of creating some havoc in the world with our folly. But the one thing that can keep us safe is to enjoy the 4 or 5 human pleasures which are our right in the world. But that takes a little money. Not much, but a little. Now, the difference between a little money and no money at all is enormous and can shatter the world. And the difference between a little money and an enormous amount of money is very slight, but it too can shatter the world. Yeah, money is like, oh, pardon my expression, money is like manure. It's not worth a thing unless you spread it around, encouraging young things to grow. Anyway, that's the opinion of the second Mrs. Horace Vandegelder.
Miss Van Huysen asked me to bring you this.
Oh, well, thank you both. Won't you sit down and
No,
rest?
thank you, I'm not tired.
Oh, what's been going on in the kitchen?
A lot of foolishness. Everybody's fallen in love with everybody. I forgave him, Ermengarde, and that artist.
I knew you would, too.
Thank you. And I made Cornelius Hackle my partner.
Oh, you won't regret it.
Dolly, you said a lot of mighty unpleasant things to me in the restaurant tonight.
Oh.
All that about my house and everything.
Well, let's not say another thing about it.
Dolly, you have your fault.
Oh, I know what you mean.
You're bossy,
Yeah.
and you're scheming, and you're inquisitive. But,
Go on.
But Dolly, you're a wonderful woman. Dolly, marry me.
No, Horace. Stop right there.
Oh, I know I've been a fool about Mrs. Malloy and that other woman, but Dolly, forgive me and marry me.
No, Horace. No, I don't dare.
What do you mean?
Well, Horace, you know as well as I do that you're the first citizen of Yonkers, and naturally, any wife of yours would be expected to keep an open house with friends going in and out all day, and of course, any wife of yours should be used to that sort of a thing.
Dolly, you could live any way you like.
Well, and you can't deny the fact that your wife would have to be a somebody. Answer me. Am I a somebody?
You are. You're a wonderful woman.
Oh, you're partial. But Horace, you know, it wouldn't be enough to load your wife with money and jewels and ask her to be a benefactress to half the town. But Horace, think I can be a credit to you?
Dolly, everybody knows that you could live any way you like. You could do anything you want to do.
Well, with your help. I'll try with your help. And by the way, I found your purse.
Where? A wonderful woman.
Just walked into my hand. I don't know how I do it sometimes. Why, I frighten myself sometimes. But, Horace, take it. Money walks out of my hand, too.
Keep it. Keep it.
Horace, I never thought I'd ever hear you say a thing like that.
Oh, excuse me. Didn't know anybody was in here.
Didn't know anybody was in here. Idiot.
Come in, Barnaby. Come in.
Come in, Barnaby.
Cornelius is going to marry Mrs. Malloy.
Oh, that's fine. Horace.
Barnaby, go in and tell the rest of them that Mrs. Levi has consented to...
Finally consented. Finally.
Finally consented to become my wife.
Holy cabooses! Hey, everyone! Old Wolf Trap, Mr. Vandergelder is going to marry Mrs. Levi. Isn't that amazing?
Dolly, that's the best news I ever heard. Well, there isn't any more coffee, and there isn't any more gingerbread. But there are 3 couples in my house, and they're all going to be married. And do you know, one of those Ermengardes wasn't a dear little girl at all. She was a boy. Oh, well, that's life. Disappointment, illusion.
Oh, there isn't any more coffee, and there isn't any more gingerbread, and there isn't any more play. But there is one more thing we have to do. Barnaby, I think the youngest person here should tell us what the moral of the play is.
Oh. I think it's about I think it's about adventure. Now, the test of an adventure is that when you're in the middle of it, you say to yourself, oh, now, how'd I get myself into this awful mess? I wish I were sitting quietly at home. And a sign that something's wrong with you is when you sit quietly at home wishing you were out having lots of adventures. So now we want to thank you all for coming out tonight, and we hope that in your lives you have just the right amount of sitting quietly at home and just the right amount of adventure.
Adventure!
Thank you.